Hello, hello, and welcome to Stop Yelling, Start Breathing, and Bring On the Love. I am so excited to talk about this, and I decided to do this recording for you as a recording, just an audio, because I really like the option to sometimes just go in and, have your own time to focus on the words and the message. And often I get distracted by the visuals of the video and I kind of find them unnecessary, honestly. So I hope you can just tune in with the audio here and enjoy, a little moment of quiet and be able to do something else for yourself while we talk about this interesting aspect of self-care. Self-care is really interesting because it can go very deep and it can also be really surface, and all of the above is important and interesting, and um, you know all aspects of what we need to do for ourselves to be able to show up for other people and to give and serve to our fullest capacity. So it's really important part of that. Um, and what I want to talk about today is avoiding kind of getting to the boiling point. And I specialize in working with moms and families, so I'm really going to be gearing this towards the moms out there. And whether you have a baby who cries a lot, or just doesn't sleep through the night, or is teething, or gets sick, it can be really hard. A toddler who is learning new skills, throwing tantrums, asserting their independence, all of the above, that can be really difficult for any parent, even the most patient. As a mom, it certainly doesn't feel good to lose your cool and yell at your child. Often we end up really being hard on ourselves on the other side of this, and some of that can even be worse than the actual incident, the guilt and the blaming of, yourself. Just kind of going into that spiral of shame. It's really not useful. So what we really need to do is arm ourselves with a toolbox and a set of skills and strategies that really can work, that we know we can rely on, and that when the difficult occasions come up where we are feeling overwhelmed, we're feeling frustrated, our buttons are being pushed to the extreme, that we know we've got some choices. First one I want to talk about is how to be a calm space amid the storm. So this is where the tools come in. You can imagine building your toolbox and putting a few of these things, whatever might work for you. And I'm going to talk about more in depth some of these specific strategies. The first step in learning which tools really will work for you is kind of naming your need. So knowing what it is that you need, whether it is time and space from the situation, a chance to express yourself, or some sort of outlet or distraction. So I often will use deep breathing. And when I get frustrated and my kids kind of know that I am kind of explicitly showing them that I'm using one of my tools and breathing deeply, they get the message pretty quickly that I am doing everything I can not to yell. And then pretty soon they often get on board with helping me out so that I don't have to overstep that boiling point. So definitely giving yourself the chance to reflect on what it is that you need in the moment and finding some ways to handle that. So breathing, singing, walking, taking space, using your words, finding ways to express yourself in with constructive words. These are just some examples of toolbox. The next step is recognizing your triggers and doing your best to avoid external negative stimulation. So I put it that way because there are lots of things out there in this world that can really get us going down a negative path, a negative neural pathway that does not make us feel good. So if we seek out the positive experiences and positive neural pathways to strengthen, we're really going to be experiencing a lot more pleasure in life. So what does it mean to be able to avoid external negative stimuli? Mainly, I think a really important key to this is learning when to say no and learning what the difference between what you would like to be able to do and what you actually can do is. So when we get a good idea of what really works for us, then we are able to give from a very confident place and know that it's not going to deplete us in the process. What does it mean to recognize your triggers? This is really important and some very deep self-work. And I think the main thing is that we have some deep, memories, experiences, and learning that has gone on from early childhood. And so it does create these deep neural pathways and grooves in the brain that can go from, just something that will trigger you. The word trigger is meant for a reason to connotate the beginning of that pathway getting stimulated, and all of a sudden it's like the domino effect and we're down the rabbit hole. So recognizing what the triggers are and naming them can be really, really helpful towards being more conscious and not just going on autopilot. For example, when we're talking about frustration and irritation when it comes to being a mom, when we start to feel our buttons are pushed, or we start to feel our triggers are, brought up, it is really helpful to take a moment to step back and look at yourself and ask, why am I having these feelings? What is it about this situation that is causing me to get so upset? And, if you can't distance yourself from it in the moment, there are some other things to do. The main thing, though, is to just see if you can soften towards the feeling rather than being hard and strong and angry against this situation. To just have a moment to breathe into it and kind of be the observer and look at yourself from a sort of third party perspective. When you can recognize your triggers, you can begin to navigate them, avoid them if you can, and if not, really work through that a lot better when we're really conscious of why these emotions are being brought up and how to sort of move forward in the evolution of the personality. So this brings me to my third point, which is that it's always you. So the first one was about learning to be a calm space amid the storm when things are feeling really crazy, learning how to breathe and be present and take the space that you need so that you can stay calm even when things are falling apart around you. And that's really important for moms because that happens quite a lot. The second one was about recognizing your triggers and avoiding
the external negative stimulation that is unnecessary. The third one is it's always you, and talking about getting your needs met first. So this is a bit like the analogy of putting on your oxygen mask before your children's in the crashing plane. Of course, as much as we don't want to think about something like that, and it's a little bit easier to forego your daily needs when it just seems like you're doing your motherly duties, when in fact you really do need to take your time to take care of yourself so that you can better show up for your family and in your business, in your work, and in the places that are important to you. So some of the best advice that I've ever gotten, aside from stop giving unsolicited advice. So I really hope that this is, advice that is being appreciated and not unsolicited. But the best advice that I have gotten besides that is that it's always you. If you're ever feeling frustrated, angry, or just sort of at the end of your rope for your family, your spouse, your kids, it's never them, it's always you. Ooh, that was a hard one to swallow. I learned a lot about getting my needs met first through an amazing mentor and coach who is a Pilates trainer. Through following her program, I learned that when I show up for myself and really put my needs first, including sleep, hydration, eating well, in a way that really works for my particular body, and doing mindful exercise makes huge amounts of difference for the kind of person that I was able to be as a mother. So, it's really not selfish to like absolutely hold that strong line and put yourself first, because it's going to come around and serve you in the end. When I remember this now, that it's always me, when I get angry, it really makes a big difference, because then I remember not to take it out on my children, that this is something that I need to take a step back, stop serving everybody else, and take care of myself. So do I need to have a smoothie or some tea or a little time out, or a nice big healthy meal or something like that? So usually it's something like that. And if you are still feeling frustrated and angry a lot and having a hard time not yelling, you might want to look at your daily routine, look at your diet, look at your hydration levels, look at your sleep, and really, really take a good look at that, because if you start with yourself, it's going to make a huge difference in being able to recognize your triggers and be a calm space amid the storm. My fourth point that I want to make to you about this type of self-care is something that we can do as a specific technique while things feel like they're going crazy, while things feel like you just cannot do it anymore without just completely losing it, right? This I call naming the moment. So it's about savoring the good stuff and separating the bad. I might say something like, wow, this is a really hard moment. This is a really hard morning right now. And I might say this out loud to my kids, like in the car on the way to school. Today didn't go very well, but sometimes, things don't go well. And other times they do. We get to school on time and everybody's fine. But today, we had a hard time. So talking about it, just like when a toddler falls down, it really does help them if you say something like, oh, you fell down, or you tripped on that right there and you fell down, and just naming it and saying it out loud. It can give some clarity to what has happened, what is happening, and also sort of diffuse the tension of it. So just saying it out loud. I really, really love the teachings of Pema Chodron and Thich Nhat Hanh about these. So if you're interested in mindfulness in this way, naming and being present in the moment. I would recommend looking into Pema Chodron. She's got lots of wonderful books, as does Thich Nhat Hanh. Staying in the moment and naming the moment when things are going crazy, it can actually be really helpful for major toddler meltdowns. When you have a baby or a kid who is just really losing it, and you need to be there for them, but there's really nothing that you can do but to kind of wait it out. It's a technique that you can try to just say, wow, you're really mad. That makes you really, really mad. I see you are kicking your legs so hard. You are really angry. You're yelling very loud. So just sort of narrating the situation. And the same can be true for when you're angry. And, I've done this, and I know other people have successfully used this technique to sort of diffuse the situation. When you're really upset, I might say something like, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, and I want to let you know that I don't have a lot of patience today. So I don't want to get upset with you. I need your help. Just giving it kind of your children can get clued in on where you are, how you're feeling. You might say, mommy's hungry, and I need you to help me with my patience by showing me how to be patient. So for a younger kid. So another really wonderful resource for handling tantrums is the book Listen by Patty Whipfler. And she's amazing. She has hand-in-hand parenting. And there's some wonderful, wonderful techniques in that book that do amazing wonders for turning around some really difficult situations with kids, which, as we know, can really push us because we love our children. And it's amazing how even the most patient people can be pushed to the edge by these little young people who are just, they're trying everything out, and they don't know what's going to happen if they do this, but they want to try and see and find out. So it's up to us to show them where the boundaries are in a kind and gentle, but often firm way. So definitely check out that book, Listen by Patty Whipfler, if you're interested in, finding out more about handling tantrums and some amazing, wonderful techniques, such as the stay listening technique, where you kind of do what I was saying and sit with your child and be with them through their tantrum, and not trying to sort of force anything, but just being there and letting them know that they're loved. And that's something that we can actually practice with our partners or each other as friends when things are hard. Just sitting with a person, just sitting with somebody through their pain and showing that to our kids can be a really valuable lesson for their emotional development also. So my fifth point I want to make here about the stop yelling, start breathing, and bring on the love. And this is a little bit more of the bring on the love portion here. So we talked about ways to stop yelling, doing more deep breathing, mindful breathing. I did want to talk about a couple of breathing techniques real quick. One is square breathing. So you're going to take a deep breath in for the count of 4, hold it, and you want to hold it sort of with an open throat. So keeping it expanded, but not closing off, just holding it as if you were taking a breath, but you're just holding it for the count of 4. And then slowly breathe out for the count of 4. And then you want to hold it out for the count of 4. And similarly to when you're holding it in, you don't want to close off your throat and get real constricted, but just keep it out until you breathe back in to the count of 4. Hold it for the count of 4. Breathe back out for the count of 4. So that's called square breathing. And you can slowly add, a second on to each part. So breathe into the count of 5. Hold it for the count of 5. Breathe out to the count of 5, all the way up to 10. So that's one way to really calm down your body. Another way to equalize your brain and body is to do nostril breathing. So you would take your thumb and close off your right nostril and breathe deeply through your left nostril. Deep breathing for about 30 seconds to a minute. And then you would take your pinky and you would switch it and close off your left nostril and breathe in through your right nostril, in and out through your right nostril. And then you would take, you can take it further and you can breathe in through your right and out through your left, and in through your left and out through your right. So that is a really wonderful way to slow down your nervous system, to calm down your, reactions, anger, frustration, all of that, to just really take it down to the base and get back in touch with your breath. So back to Bring on the Love, I want to talk about making memories. And so, one of the really most important parts of helping kids to cooperate and listen and go along with things so that we don't get so frustrated, that things aren't so hard, and we don't start yelling, is having a deep connection and bond with our children. And as much as most of us hopefully do have that, it's something that we have to keep cultivating and we have to keep spending time on and considering. So that's why I want to talk a little bit about making memories and getting creative. And I want to suggest an idea of making memories. If you have a trip coming up or some sort of a special event coming up, it's really fun to kind of milk it for all it's worth and kind of pull it out, anticipate, get excited about it. So setting the stage, the anticipation for something is half of the memory making. So something's coming up, and you're getting really excited. Maybe you're counting down the days with a calendar. Maybe you're researching it. Maybe you're looking up pictures or making a collage or some sort of art project around it. So it's really fun to get very excited about something that's coming up. And then the next step is deep appreciation. So when the time does come, you get to go to grandma's house. It's the time to take that moment and say, oh, isn't this just wonderful? Aren't you? Isn't it? I am so happy to be here. I'm so happy that you are here and that we are all here together. And this moment is just so special. I want to take a minute to appreciate it and to just say how excited I was to be here. And now we're here. And look at this. We did it. We got here. We waited and we prepared and we made it. And now we're having this time right now. So even naming it in the moment and just really appreciating the moment as it's happening. And then afterwards, having those recollections and fond memories of the event, it can be really fun to a week later maybe take a minute and talk about, or even a couple days later, look at some pictures, talk about your favorite parts, talk about what do you want to do next time, maybe make a little scrapbook or some sort of art expression that is in relation to your experience. So there's so many fun, creative ways to extend a special trip. For instance, if you went to the beach, you might collect sand from every beach that you went to and take a photo of the ocean, and then you can create a collage with the sand and the photo from the different places. Or you can collect driftwood or shells or pine cones. And so, some kind of way of bringing your experience forward into the present moment and the future. It's really fun. And the last little tip I want to give about stop yelling, start breathing, and bring on the love for deep self-care is offering generous assumptions. So this is a concept that I picked up from Brené Brown. And I really love her also. She's got some, amazing books out there, books on tape. And some of her insights are very apropos to parenting as well. And also just learning and growing as a human. So offering generous assumptions is the is actually the act of kind of putting aside our ego and not making it about us, but sort of almost curiosity about the other person. Or um, not not just assuming that they are out to get you or trying to, ruin your day. So making a generous assumption about somebody is going to be offering them the benefit of the doubt, offering them that second chance. And I think it's a really important part of this whole thing, because when we get triggered to start yelling, we really do ourselves and our loved ones a disservice, but mostly ourselves. And we have to kind of take a minute to look at, why is this happening? Where is this coming from? And if we've done everything else, we've taken care of our needs, our hydration is in place, our exercise is good, our sleep is solid, we're eating really well, we have time away from the kids to socialize with other adults, outlets, creative outlets, we're making special memories, we're bonding with our children, or learning new tools, ways to handle ourselves. If this is still not working and you're still finding yourself yelling, I would really consider that this might be part of it, is this generous assumptions. So it's assuming the best about somebody and that they really aren't meaning to upset you. So, maybe they're not feeling well. Maybe they are needing some attention. And that's usually the case with kids misbehaving. And they need some guidance. They need some boundaries. And taking ourselves and our egos out of it is not always easy, but it is key for disengaging from that clutch of anger that makes us say things and do things that we wish that we hadn't later on. So, in mind of having the best relationships with our beautiful children, with our families, our spouses, it is my honor to talk with you about this today, because it's so important to me. I think that if you want to take the time to deepen your relationship with your children, it's only going to reward you for years and years to come. And it's not always easy, but it's definitely worth it. So a couple of suggestions going forward after this, I would like to invite you to take some time to journal about your triggers. So when you find yourself getting upset, take a minute to jot down under like a section called triggers. What is the trigger? When did it come up? And how were you able to diffuse it if you were? The next section I want you to consider writing about is solutions that work for me. So what does work when you are upset? How do you come down? Do you call your best friend and go in the closet and rant and rave, but not yell at the kids? That might be one of them. And the last little heading and section I would like to suggest writing about, which this can really be a profound experience and open up some amazing doors and opportunities and just kind of blow your mind, is to make a list of daily mini miracles. And I call them mini miracles, but I really just mean miracles, because they are around us everywhere. And they might be something as small as you were in a hurry and somebody pulled out of the parking spot right in front of the place that you needed to go just at the moment that you pulled up. That might be a mini miracle. One of my favorites was, I was thinking about this exact topic a couple of years ago, and I drove down this section of the highway that I usually drive on. And as I was thinking about these mini miracles, I looked over and I saw a sunflower growing out of the highway, the middle of the asphalt. And I just thought, that's a mini miracle. And when you start to set your mind toward looking for these beautiful things in the world, these amazing coincidences, these, perfect alignments that come up over and over in our lives, when we take the time to write them down, it really can remind us that this life that we live is larger than us, for one thing, and also it's just filled with wonder and awe and so many good things. So and then we get more. So of course, you know, if you study the laws of attraction, you know that when you think about good things, you get more good things. So I invite you to write about the many miracles in your life, jot down solutions that work for you, and keep adding to that list. And also, you know, start writing about your triggers, and that can be a chance to get in a little bit deeper into your own self and heal some of those old wounds. And I am happy to refer you to people who do that inner child work, that deep wound work, and those trigger works, definitely. And also so happy to support you in your parenting journey. Please reach out if you have any questions or suggestions or ideas, or if there's any way that I can help you. Please just ask. You can find me here through Nicole, and anything else I can help you with, please just let me know. I wish you the best, and I wish you a wonderful journey of self-care, and really applaud your taking the time to put yourself first and get in deep with some of these beautiful practices. So I wish you well, and please let me know if I can help in any way, and take care.